In a move likely to anger unions, New South Wales Labor leader Chris Minns has walked back from a 2022 promise to public sector workers in the fight over the removal of the Coalition's public sector wage cap. Labor is also being asked to clarify the data it used to estimate its toll relief policy.
Before campaigning in Western Sydney, Labor leader Chris Minns joined his wife Anna for a Valentine's Day morning coffee date for the cameras. But the love ended there for the opposition leader, who faced questions over his public sector wage promises. In April last year, he said public sector workers under his government would receive a pay rise matching inflation.
If we were elected the government of New South Wales in March 2023, that means paying a lot more than 2.5%. It means obviously keeping pace with inflation.
Those comments were made at a rally by paramedics for better pay and conditions. Unions have been calling for salaries matching inflation or better, but they now won't get that under Labor because inflation is higher.
We cannot commit to CPI. I'm saying that well before the New South Wales election. I think if fair-minded people look at the opposition over the last 12 months, we haven't been in a position where we're saying that we will offer 7 or 8% wage increases, and we're not saying it now.
Under the government's policy, wages are capped at 3%. If productivity savings are found, that could go up an extra 0.5%. Labor has committed to removing the cap, but don't expect a commitment beyond that before the election.
I can't put a figure on what we will give public sector employees in New South Wales, other than to say that those negotiations will be guided by economic principles. And those economic principles will be that any increase will be funded by budget savings as well as productivity gains.
Chris Minns also faced questioning over his party's toll relief plan, capping weekly toll expenses for drivers at $60 a week. Labor estimates 50,000 drivers would benefit. However, 5-year data used to make that assumption included the pandemic lockdown period when no one was driving.
The COVID calculations were taken into account.
It's not as if John and I can estimate traffic volumes and potential participants in the toll cap plan. It needs to be independently done. That process has been underway since September last year, and obviously we need to make sure that policies committed to have an estimated cost.
Expect the Coalition to keep pressing Labor on state budget management in the lead-up to the March election. Kenny Heatley, Sky News, Sydney.